Hello. How we go? How we go here?
Hello.
Hello.
Two. Hey. Two.
Hello. Hello. Nana. Nana. Are we good to go? So what do you think about the winter now? The winter now. Political situation. Like, you go shop, you say, this place today, you know, 3 minutes. The organize. 3 minutes. I want to start. We are going to start. So, now,
Just the music. Can we do something?
hey, this is a music small here. Whoop the organ. Who is coordinating this one? What the coordinator?
Hey.
I beg me, try the microphone all the way. Okay.
Hey. Hey. Hello.
Hello.
Two. Hello.
Okay.
Welcome to the Accra now. Let's see if we chat with them. Go back.
Hello. Good afternoon and welcome to Light. It's unfair. It's an honor to have all of you here. These great men.
I introduce from the back. Wherever you see us, the back. Yeah, so we have the Honorable J. Loops David Ni Tego. He's the CEO of Victory Homes. He's a music director extraordinaire, founder of Overflow, also vocal music director for Joe Metal as well. And I think Ohima Messi and many more. We have Prince Senna. He needs no introduction. Prince Senna is a household name, master's degree holder in oil and gas and other related issues. Yes, and other related issues. In Senna, and Prince Senna is usually not in the country. I think both of them are usually not in the country anymore, but it's an honor to have them here. Seasoned musicians, and we also have Preach Media. We have Emmanuel in the house, the CEO of Preach Media, and the productions he's done. He's done so many productions, and now I know he's veered into sound. I know Ima is into sound now. He's doing sound and other things, so Ima is diversifying seriously. And we have my very own friend, Dr. Gideon, is here as well. I'm not saying more. Gideon and I were in the school band together, and so it's an honor to have him here. We have Selom, popularly of Fra, but Selom is one heavy guy. He's into sound designing as well, and so it's an honor to have all of you here as we delve into issues that pertain to our music circle and many more. So first, I'd like to start off with Senna. Yes. So I'm starting with Senna because Senna is going to talk more about musicianship. As Senna is one of the instrumentalists that I think people still, even though it's not in the country, plays a lot of productions and does a lot of things. In fact, some groups actually schedule their programs according to his availability and when he'll be around. For you to earn that level of trust, it means you've done certain things right. So, generally, I'll let Prince tell us what his secret has been, how his approach to work has been, his work ethic, and then, I think I'll start with that.
Thank you very much, Hakeem. And I've been very surprised if I wasn't asked to open this. And I've been very surprised. It's an honor. It's my first time on this platform. I'd like to thank Hakeem for bringing me and my brothers on. Musicianship, that's a big one. That's a huge one. I mean, it's so broad and to an extent even endless, For me, musicianship comes in twofold. How you handle yourself as a musician and how you handle the people who consume your music. So level one is, what do you do to be a better musician yourself? I mean, not related to anyone. And I think I've said this somewhere before, that I have a personal principle. I call it the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps. First one is prayer, because what we do is not of this world. Music, and I don't think there's anyone. I mean, if we mention a light bulb or a speaker, we can find the inventor of. But when it comes to music, it's divine. We can't say, oh, Hakeem founded music in the year circa 20-something, So first of all, acknowledging that music in itself is divine. So you need some form of spiritual backing, and that's where prayer comes in. So for me, prayer is like the most important thing for you as a musician. Personally, prayer is like pray before you play, pray when you're practicing, pray when you have an event you're going to minister to people. Pray, just pray before. I know, we don't say this that much, but I know a few secular musicians who actually pray a lot before they do their sessions. You know, they believe in a higher being, appreciating that there's a God, there's Jehovah Jireh somewhere who's providing your gift and giving you even the energy to do what you do is really important. So first one is prayer. Second one is practice. I like the way Richard Bonham puts it. I'll try and paraphrase, but he says excellence is just repetition. To be able to excel at something, you have to do it all the time, do it over and over again. And I think that aligns clearly with my second P, which is practice. You have to really, really invest time, develop your craft, expose yourself to a lot of material, update your knowledge. I mean, where I went to school in my last my last studies, my masters.
I thought Bible study. Sorry. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, when I was doing my masters, there was this writing on our wall. So it's always learning, and the professors will always tell you that if they teach you something today, Monday in class, and tomorrow there's a superior knowledge, something just comes up the next morning, and you realize that, okay, this thing is no longer called black, it's called something else. I mean, they admonish you to update that knowledge, even though it was relevant yesterday, but it's not relevant today. So same thing applies to being a musician or anything you find yourself doing. You have to practice, expose yourself to new material, and then apply the always learning mantra to your life. Always learning. Update your knowledge. There's a new gear in town. I mean, learn how to use it. There's a new way of doing things. Always update your knowledge. The good thing is that when you update your knowledge, the old knowledge doesn't vanish. So you end up expanding your knowledge rather. You know, if you know something yesterday and something new comes today and you learn it, the brain, doesn't run out of space. So you can always improve on your knowledge and basically just update your knowledge. For me, that's what I consider as practicing and developing your skill. I mean, there's what we know every day as practice, like take your instrument, rehearse. Yeah, those ones are there. And then play. The third P. So I've spoken about prayer. I've also spoken about practice. And the last one is play. Now, I know a couple of times people ask me, so what's the difference between practicing and playing? It's not a straightforward answer, but I have decided to call playing like put yourself in a professional environment. Play with other people. For me, practice is alone when you're doing it, when you're developing yourself. But playing entails like get your friends, get like-minded people, play with them, because by doing that, you're also improving yourself. So playing is very important. Now, there's also a learning component in playing, because there are times when I learn a song, I think, I had a 6. It was so low on the B string, I couldn't hear it well. But I meet Hakeem or I meet Selom at a gig, and I find out, no, it's actually a flat 7. It was just so low, so the frequency was just so low, so I couldn't pick it out. So yeah, playing in a music environment, it could be a church, your friend's house. Just make sure that you are playing, and that is very different for me. That's very different for me. Like, as opposed to practice, Playing means that you are in the actual action. Because I mean, as a bass player, as a drummer, you don't play alone. You're not a solo performer. So put yourself in the environment. And for me, that is what I mean by playing. So yeah, my 3 P's: prayer, practice, and then playing with other people.
Okay, thank you very much. One I met someone who said that they've been practicing for a long time, but they still get the the feedback that they are not playing well. Yeah, I met someone. He said, I really practice. I practice several hours a day, but people still tell me I'm not sounding right. So
Okay.
what could cause something like that?
So practice is good, but practice in itself is not. I mean, it's not. You have to practice good materials. Now the question is, how do you know what is a good material or not? That's why you have to engage other people. That's why you have to play with your colleagues. That's where, I mean, there's intuition that you can, when you hear good material, you can hear it. But maybe you don't have that. Maybe picking out a good material doesn't come to you naturally. That's why there are mentors, there are friends, there are people you should always engage. I mean, I didn't speak about the external part, but if your friends say you are not playing well, I mean, your friends also form part of your consumers, those who consume your music. So if they tell you that, we think you are not getting it right, it means that yes, you are practicing, you are digging in, you are committing a lot of time. But what are you practicing? Because whatever you practice, you become very good at it. So if you want to become a master of the wrong things, then I mean that's up to you. But make sure that you practice, but you practice the right stuff. That would be my advice for such a person. Yeah.
So I think you've been a band leader for quite a number of projects, from CC Chum, Joe Metal, and I mean a number of projects. And even currently, I know where you are stationed. You are also head of the global head of. So
That's a serious
how do you, or what are some of the observations you've made? And I think one of the projects you did with recently, is it with Eric Jeshon? You used a lot of new faces, like I mean, younger musicians that we usually don't see with. What in all of this? What observations have you made, and what would you like to put across? Some of the things that you've seen that the younger guys, or you've seen generally musicians do, that you think that it's not or should be corrected, or they can approach it in a better way.
Okay, so the first thing I like to talk about is the work ethic itself. I believe that in our time there's so much talent, and like you agree with me that there's so much talent. So the demand itself has gone beyond skill and how well you can do what you do. But there's a problem of like the work ethic. Timeliness is one of them. Timeliness is one of them. There are times when I'm choosing maybe a keyboard player or a guitar player, like a younger one, of course, for a project, and they are both good. So I'm thinking, so who will show up on time? Who will not give me problems? Who will come to the rehearsal prepared? You know, there's one of them very, very solidly. I'm not going to mention his name. I was having problems with him recently, and it was just because he's so good that he won't even sit down to learn the material, you know. And for some gigs, you are going to just reproduce something. I don't need, at that stage, I don't need your skills so much. I don't need so much of you. I just need someone to reproduce the material. So for something like that, your work ethic, how serious you are with the work, have you learned the material? Will you show up on time? Will you fidget whilst the rehearsal is going on? On gig day, will you be prepared? Will you give me reasons to panic? I mean, I've been in so many bands, yeah, and I've realized that how the artist, the top person, how the artist feels about you is more important than anything else. So you can be the best player, but if 20 minutes before the gig they can't see you and they're worried, and where is Pensena? Oh, that alone can inform their decision to put you on the next project or not. So you could be the very best, but they'll look for the not so good but very much available person. So work ethic is really important for me. I don't, as for skill, there's so much around these days, but the difference, what really separates the the men from the boys is the work ethic.
Okay, yeah. And then I think the last question I'll ask you is pertains to production. Production live and then production recording. Because I know you do a lot of recordings even now and also on live projects. I'll say two different comments. One for live is, I know you don't overdub. I'm the only person who has overdubbed your bass before in this life. I overdubbed one note. But most of the producers I know you work with have said, even for live recordings, usually you don't do overdubs because you play the thing so well once, and so it's one take on the recording. And then also I know for live and for recordings or for studio recordings, we say the sound, the tone of your bass, it doesn't give them so much work to do. So what's your secret? How do you record? How do you approach your live productions and all that?
Okay, I'll take the tone one first. I think the tone itself is developed over a long period of time. So, in fact, I myself have come to realize that even when I change guitars, I end up sounding the same. Yeah. Now, this is my secret, and if other bass players can follow, yeah. When I'm recording into the interface, the sound card as we call it, I don't boost anything, I don't cut anything, so everything comes at equal volume. So my EQ is bass, mid, highs, everything comes at equal volume, because I believe that that also acts like a passive sound and doesn't give the engineers too much problem. So nothing is boosted.
So at equal volume, are you talking 3, 4, 5, 6?
I mean 10? In the middle. I mean,
so on a scale of 1 to 10, we are looking at 5.
So 5, yeah. So everything comes at 5. I mean, once in a while, maybe I'm doing a reggae song, I want some more bottom, then I'll boost my lows. But I believe that I've come to realize actually that engineers they don't want sounds that are over processed, so they just want something they can work with. I remember, may soul rest in peace, Koda. I remember I sent him a bass file once, and he told me this thing is like tomato stew. That's what he told me. He said I can change it to anything I want. I can do anything I want with your bass, and that really stuck with me. I mean, he said this like 4 or 5 years ago. So I believe that don't complicate the sound for the post-production engineer. The next one is the overdub.
Yeah.
I think first of all, let me thank God that I don't have to overdub a lot of times. Yeah, but I mean, aside thanking God for that, what I do, because I believe it's just the grace of God. I mean, first and foremost, let me appreciate that. I mean, people do better than me, but they still overlap. Now, this is the way I approach a recording. Overlapping is not something I want to do. It's just I don't approach a recording like, I'm playing. Later, there's room for correction. So when I'm rehearsing, I'm creating all my lines, and to me, if I have to overlap after the thing, then why did I do 6 rehearsal sessions? I mean, not sections. Why did we have 4 or 5 rehearsal sessions, 4 hours each, and then after all of that, I have to? That's me. I'm not saying it's wrong to overlap. I mean, it's good to tidy things up. But why should I do 4 hours, 20 hours of rehearsal, and then And then, I mean, if I'm over there, I mean, it should be like a technical problem. Something happened to my base. They couldn't collect the data. And I mean, so that's the way I approach because to me it's like double work. I don't want to play and play again. The other thing is, I feel like I perform better in the live setting with the audience there. And I mean, most of you will realize that my in-ears, I only use one because I also want the room feel. And that thing really matters to me a lot. So I feel, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like when I can hear the audience and when I don't have to imagine an audience. When the audience is there and maybe they are shout, they are clap, something can make me perform better. So overdubbing the work means that I'm losing that natural, okay, you know. Yeah, so that's it. That's the way I approach recordings.
Okay. Thank you
man.
so much for sharing this very deep secret with us. Thank you so much, Prince. I think I'll move on to Dave J. Loops. Recently I had a conversation with J. Loops, and I was telling him that I made I made a few observations. I was doing this introspection into his life, not my life.
How would you do into my life?
Cross introspection.
And I read Jay has done quite a lot in a very short time. He has ventured into a whole lot of things. We were in PL Crew at the beginning together, and then he started Overflow at the time. I think that was after John went to Bynum's concert. He went into Overflow. He was working in the bank. He left the bank and went to full-time music. And I think from there, I know he was music director for about 3 churches. Yeah, and then Joe Metal, other artists, and I think he's done productions. He's a Nord artist. In fact, he was doing J Loop's life. He did mashup. There's so much jazz, and finally he went into real estate. And then after that, he went out of the country as well. So, yeah, Dave is going to tell us what has inspired him to do all these things, and what he thinks musicians should do. Is there something they are missing? Because David actually reminds me of David in the Bible. He was a shepherd, became a king, wrote songs. I mean, he was doing so much. I don't know if he's living up to the name David or what's his inspiration. And then, yeah, so Dave.
Okay, I want to thank you for this opportunity as well. I've been waiting to share this part of my life. I just have to say, probably I'm just an adventurous person. I love to go into places people haven't figured out. And so I also pay attention to what's going on and where everybody is paying attention. And I ask myself, what can I do to also add to what people are doing? And because I know we're in a system where when you start something and it works, you have people venturing into. So why don't you just open up the markets? And so from everything I've done, especially it's been a showcase of the many things I've learned when I was growing up. I was born into a music family where my father was a music director, my auntie was the keyboardist, my uncle was the bass guitarist, my mom was the singer. So it gave me a very diverse thinking of what can be done musically. And so even venturing to the bank, it was the lowest point of my life where I thought I wasn't making sense in terms of my application on the instrument. So hey, let me just go somewhere where nobody can find me, where I can just be in a.
There was a time you thought you were not making sense on your instrument.
Yes, we'll get there. Everybody has a depressing moment in life where, yeah, so there wasn't even money centered. It was just to venture into something. But there's something about the calling where you can never run away from. And I kept on. So I felt that, especially in the bank, I felt I was being a liability to a group like PL Crew where everybody was full-time. And Hakeem, you've been in the bank before, and we've been there before, and you get back from work, they've learned things you were not privy to, and you feel a liability. So I had to take a very important decision to leave the bank, even though I didn't even realize that because I was still under parental guidance. I didn't even realize that it was the money, the money wasn't the issue. Yeah, so when I left the bank, got into full-time music, that's when I realized that, oh my God, this is crazy. And those times, music hadn't developed into how it was now, and now you can just put a content out and somebody in Thailand can see and appreciate and call you to do work. It wasn't like that. It was you, your community, and your impact. Yeah, and in terms of, because I'd seen money, I was like, oh my God, like where did I just zoom? Wrong choice. But at least we're consoled by the whole Geometro. That's when I got serious about Geometro. I met very incredible musicians like Prince Senna, Hakeem, and the Seloms and all that. But still, there was something that I realized that I had more that I needed to push into the music. I knew I was very vocally inclined, like vocal music. I love choral music. In school, I had a degree in music, so I had the opportunity to go for mixed chorus, listen to choral music, and appreciate harmonies. So I've always been lamenting on how, and around that time we had a group like Joy Celebration. People didn't understand the language, but everybody was in there. And we had a group like Impact Project, which I was part of too. But of course, they had the critical kind of music. Like you stick to the music. You can't play anything away from the music. But we are growing into a phase where hear and play, like people had the opportunity to improvise. Yeah, so I was like, why won't I just create something like that? I didn't even know. And it's funny, everything I've tried to put up, there are things I was just trying in my room. Like, I didn't even know it was going to blow out. So one rehearsal, we just put it up, and I come back, and I see a lot of views and comments. I'm like, oh, this is getting interesting. Let me just take this serious. And by God's grace, it grew to where it was. But still, I felt that when in a dispensation, especially my ministry as me, has always been getting the upcoming artists to be confident and to know that they are not alone and to know that they have a lot of support, but which I wasn't seeing because taking my life as an example, I didn't have anybody who even taught me how to play. It was just a PSR 1 or 2 my parents bought for me, and I was always, because I had the love for the instruments, I had to figure my way out. And I knew a lot of people who were growing to that point who had no support, nothing. So I was like, why won't I just be that support to a lot? So I started nurturing all these upcoming. And I remember the first time I did DJ Live was in my bedroom with Charlie Keys. He came to visit me. And I was like, oh, let's do a live video. And everybody was like, we had a lot of views. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Then the next person was Casey, may his soul rest in peace. He also came up, and it was beautiful. I was like, okay. I met, what's his name, Tio. And he was like, oh, I have the gadgets. Let's just make things happen, okay? I hadn't met Preach Video then. Yeah, so we started doing it, and I had the opportunity to interview all the greats and Prince, every.
The interview with Prince Senna. I remember that. That was the iconic interview. Because I think at that time, Prince had just left the group.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to know. But wanted to avoid that. I don't know how that Prince had to answer that after all. Yes, but that thing wasn't just me just trying to interview people, but I just wanted the opportunity for people to have the opportunity to also ask questions real time. Because it was live. There's no way you see Hakeem and sit him down for 1 hour and want to know about his life. It was the only medium. And it was interesting. People had that, and people were learning a lot. But then I still wasn't satisfied because a lot of, and one thing about me, I don't know, it's the weakness. When I see people doing what I do, I retreat to look for something else to do. I always want to be like a trendsetter. I always want to start something new for people to develop. Then when I see it's picking up, I move into something else. I remember mashups, of course, getting, and it created a lot of, but still, there was this part of me that I'm like, let me get critical in my life. I'm growing old. It won't be the same. And that's the reality of life. It won't be, how long will I be a music director? How long will I be on stage playing?
You'll be on live.
No, I know, but you understand the level at which it goes. There are younger people coming. There are people who will be leaving. There's no way I'll still be conducting the same way I used to conduct. Even the way I used to twist my waist during impact projects, I don't even have the energy to do it now. People are like, you are always behind your keyboard, bored and angry and straight looking. Yes, that wasn't how I used to be. So the older you get, things change. You get
Okay. So let me just chip this one
Yeah.
quickly. I think you've had the most drastic or most significant weight loss journey of all time. I'm saying this because you brought waste into the whole conversation. So how did you just quick one, like a minute?
Yeah.
How did you lose?
That's
all
part
that
of the
weight?
story. I mean, it's part of the story. It happened during COVID, where I was thinking like, okay, so if the COVID persists for life, think about it. If we're not going to come back to reality, how was life going to be? Is this how I want to be? And people were dying all over. My good friends were dying, and of course, you know what comes with gaining weight and all the underlying factors. So let me take this opportunity and dare myself. So like I'm saying, the narrative has always been daring myself to do things that I never even thought of doing. So yes, I emptied everything in the fridge. I said, hey, I was going to do this. And I did this in 3 months. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was waking up, jogging in my room, crying whilst I was doing it because I couldn't enjoy it. The body was going through a transition where it needed all the things I was used to. Imagine eating some things for like 30 years, and in a month you are trying to win out of those things. It was crazy, but I had to intentionally. So this to everybody. You can do everything, anything, if you intentionally want to do it. And it has to be, and I was consistent about it. I remember the only time people saw me was Jometo's wedding. That was the only time after. And we're all in our face masks. Everybody was passing by. I didn't understand. I was like, what have I done? So I said, I was with a painting. Then I was like, let me just do an experiment. So I went to stand in the center of the park where Jumeto was having his wedding. I said, let me just take my mask and see what will happen. So I took it off, and I was just sliding myself to make sure people were seeing me. And I realized passers-by and some people were pointing. People were like, the communication, everybody stopped and were pointing at me like, and I was there, even though it was Jometo's day, I was the highlight of his wedding. And and what people don't know is after that, I even had a page called Shred with J Loops. I had over hundreds of people on that page. And I realized that my story was a testimony to a lot of people. I don't know about Kakraba, but a lot of people. These are stray bullets. I know you hear about it. Yeah, and the testimonial thing. So around that time is when I was also thinking about my life. Like, hey, can I buy my dream car? Can I buy my dream house? Like, when I grow, is this what I want to do? And for me, because I wasn't too much into the production and what people were doing, I had to also venture into a second stream of income where at least I knew that if my artist travels for 3 months, another 3 bullets, life will still go on for me. You get what I'm saying? Because for us, we're concentrated on some specifics. Okay, so it's an artist, it's probably a group, yeah, and you get what I'm saying. And of course, nurturing a group like Overflow, everybody was young. I was spending, like, after every program, I can't pay my bills. Preach with DLV on me. I'm like, how long is this going to go on? So I noticed. So during my crying moment, that's when I met David Entry. He was in real estate. I didn't know anything about real estate. I cried. It was Selim. I'm having Selim here. So Selim calls me one day that his boss wants a Node keyboard. Yes, and before then, one beautiful thing about the Node keyboard is, as at the time I was made ambassador, I didn't even have the keyboard. So everything I learned and all the things I was doing on seminars, I was just watching on YouTube. Then imagine. So that's what attracted me to Nana. I was like, this guy cried. Does he have the keyboard, but he can develop and teach. The first seminar I did in Node, I hadn't seen the keyboard before. They gave me a night before the seminar. But I couldn't explain, and Nana was very impressed. And when he posted that video, I was there one day, and I had the call, a message on Instagram from Node, like, we've been following you, and can you send us your bio? I was like, what are you talking about? I sent my bio, and in 5 minutes, I was on their website.
Fantastic.
Yes, and that's where Salon came in to ask me for, of course, he knew I was in Node, so he said he had a friend who wanted a Node keyboard, and I just went through, long story short, he was in real estate. I was working for him, and I realized that, Charlie, this thing go be. So I just got myself in, by God's grace, Victory Homes is 2 years, and we are one of the most sought after real estate companies out there. Yes, thank you.
I know this, is it for 2 years running? You've sponsored Praise Reloaded. Is it just Praise Reloaded or Christmas?
Oh, just the Christmas. There's some other things that I can't, of course.
Of course.
Other groups will be chasing me for it. So
now that you're out of the country, are you also starting real estate where you are now?
It's yes, in and out. In Ghana and anywhere I find myself, real estate will be, yeah. It's just to find out, listen, the whole real estate is just for the gospel. I want to be in a place where I can hear someone having a program and I can say, hey, I'm sorting out this. I'm sorry, because I know I've been through the projects and I've seen what goes on. So I feel that these are things to also finance the kingdom and to help people come out with what they want to come out with. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
One is the question of, if I don't ask that question,
Yeah.
like, but I think in a way you've answered the question anyway. One has to do with overflow, because overflow, is one of the most vibrant groups that has ever come out of the country. And people are asking, I think this week, I don't know who started the whole thing, but this week everybody's asking what's happening with overflow. And I think in a way you've answered the question, because you were the sole sponsor, so I know the bedding. I've tried it before. I did Santa Moga Praise for about for a few years. Charlie, the pressure I just had to shut it down, but maybe I'll just reconsider going to it. So now maybe you can just take this opportunity to address.
Yeah, apart from the financing, by God's grace, now we have what it takes to make things happen. But it's not just that, it's spiritual as well. I think that sometimes you need to retreat and be sure of the calling and sure of where God wants you to go with things. Yes, it's draining, especially when you put something somewhere and it always has to be there. You understand what I'm saying? And in that capacity, you always have to give the best. You don't have to go below it. And it's the worst place to be in life, to always, anything that comes out. Because even the singers, I get it. Like, they go to places and like, she's in overflow, so she's automatically good. So that kind of pressure is you just can't do anything. So sometimes you need to retreat and be sure of what God really wants you to do. And I've been going through that phase. I still don't have answers, but at least gradually we'll get there. So it's not gone. And I'm saying this team I have as Overflow is the best team I've ever had in our 10 years. And you'll be sure. I know Salom knows some of them, and he's Salom has actually helped
He was
from day one. I mean, he's been part of the success story of Overflow, and yes, by God's grace, if God is truly part of the group, we'll really come back as good as we've always been. Yes.
We are all looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
we are really looking forward to that, and I believe that some of these groups are what will put Ghana on the map. Aside just the artist, and really not every. I don't think it's every singer that has to become an artist. Some function better in a group. You know, I mean, you learn the hard way. Some have learned the hard way that being a solo is not a joke.
Yeah,
you know, so I it's my heart. You are laughing.
but Hakeem, one beautiful thing that's my resolve in Overflow is, even if God forbid, even if this is the end, I can look and see all the beautiful influences that it has caused, and you understand what I'm saying? Like on every stage, you have at least one person I can identify as, and that's the best thing for me. And yes, so that's yeah.
I think you've done some really good work from the new yams and So and Jay, the last thing, last question I would ask you is, in doing real estate, what are some of the things that what's some advice you give musicians from what you've seen in the line of real estate? So either housing, anything that's got to do with building, buying a house. What advice would you give us?
Yeah. Okay. So you would have to save one. I know a lot of people argue that most of the things are just hand to mouth, but find a way of trying to. For me, okay, if you are not as rich as the princes and the and the blue doors and all those things, find a second stream of income. One, okay, that would at least something that would get you consistent money, and save and try to invest into something. Now in Victory Homes, we have a package. I have a promo house where you pay something. I don't want to mention about, because you will discourage a lot of people.
Not discourage. Just mention.
Okay, so the house is okay. So the house is, let's say, $100,000. Okay, but you put a commitment fee of $10,000 and spread like 3 years.
That's nice.
Yes, you don't get that offer
something
anywhere.
Silicon
Exactly, and with how the real estate business is appreciating, listen, it's the only real business you can find anywhere on earth. From anywhere you go, real estate is booming, and you can make investments in less than a year you can make back your. And so I feel that everybody would have to invest. I don't know, if not real estate, at least invest into something that can, in some years to come, can reap what you've sown. You get what I'm saying?
Okay,
so yeah.
Does Victory Homes build? Maybe someone wants a particular design. They want Victory Homes to handle that.
Yes, we can. Now we can even build as low as 400,000 Ghana cedi. Yes. So any design you want, from a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, at least can get something beautiful that you can stay in.
That's
and
nice.
yes, so they shouldn't be afraid. Okay, you can start. We have beautiful packages. Okay.
So how do we contact you?
How do you contact? Oh, of course.
Victory Homes.
Victory Homes.
So yeah,
Victory Homes
and
and
out there.
yes, and Dave J. Loops. Yeah.
And then what? I think if people need Airbnb places, maybe they're coming to the country, all those things.
Yes, you know how we did the Christmas. Every one of your metal singers had a room to live, and they even had swimming pools.
Except me.
You didn't request for it, Hakeem.
Do I need to request?
Yeah, so like we've had people, and to the ministry as well. If you have people coming in, like we hosted Sumi Solar during Ife Grace's program. Yeah, we have beautiful places for you to, if you want to.
South African, I think.
What?
You hosted another South African.
Yeah, we've done a lot. If you want to just vacation, honeymoon, we'll get you beautiful places.
Or even a room I think for some of the setup I saw.
Yes.
That room.
Yes.
If you need a
Yes.
homely space to
Yes,
record.
yes. Or now you know the trend of recording now. Like
Yeah.
people want, yes, we have 8 bedrooms, 7, 6. Yeah, so we can
Excellent.
make things happen. Thank you.
Victory Homes, J. Loops, thank you so much. So I think I'll progress to preach media. So I think I'm actually going in the line of how music goes from from musicianship, choir, production. Okay, so preach media. Ima is actually great to have you here. I think I met Ima. Interesting, Ima is in Tema. But I didn't meet Ima in Tema. I met Ima in Cape Coast when I went for Trinity Music, something. I think was it our first concert?
Yeah.
Is that when they recorded the Uye Mame So Sweja? Or that was the second one? That was the first.
That was the first.
The first one, yeah. So I met him there. He's a solid guy. I've done quite a number of productions with him, Pastor Isaiah, And one thing about him is always talking about one concept or the Hakeem. I've seen this thing there. He sent me a video of some people sitting on a boat in the middle of the sea, somewhere recording a song. Say, Hakeem, you have to do this. Like, Charlie, my guy, my life. So, Ivan, please run us through. A lot of people want to do production now. People want to record. When I say production, some people might be lost. But I mean, they want to go through the whole thing of recording a song, having a video for it, all those things. So what really goes into all of that?
Okay. Thank you so much. In fact, I didn't know you remember the Trinity experience. But that was my first time of us meeting, and it was a blessing also. It has been a blessing knowing you throughout the journey. So I also thank God and then thank the entire team for inviting me here. About concept production, I know I've been worrying you most often with, I've seen this concept, let's do it, I've seen that. I don't know, but if it's your calling, it's your calling. Just as Brother Jalub said, sometimes you feel uneasy. Yes. I used to say something will push you to enter into this, but I've been corrected to say that the Holy Spirit will push you to enter into that. So whenever I have that urge, I call like-minded people, try to, think through it. So not to deviate from the question, but I always approach production from a particular point of view ever since I got to know what I know now. We all started from somewhere. I remember I started way back from SHS. And most of us might even start from JHS, and But now, for quite some time, I've been approaching production from the final product. The final product. So anyone who contacts me, just to break it down for everyone to understand, the first thing I ask you is, okay, send me a sample of what you've seen on YouTube that you want yours to be similar to, or send me a series of links, a number of links that you've seen something good in there that you wish you would have something similar. Because I have to find a nice way to communicate with people who don't understand production. If you go and mention, as soon as you called you, say, let's do 20 cameras, let's do 10, let's do this. The person will be scared and run away. Yes, it used to happen to me. It used to happen to me a lot. So now that's the first question I ask. What do you want your production or your final thing to look like? I go through with you. Then now we come to the plan. And it will surprise you that after we've had such a conversation, the person already have a fair knowledge of even the kind of venue to choose for the production. So then the person's mindset and ideas and everything now changes. If previously the concept demanded a church that's about, let's say, 500-seater auditorium, and now after you've gone through that kind of YouTube thing, the person now sees that, no, I need 1,000-seat auditorium. I need something that looks like this. The person now thinks together with you. So you don't really suffer about such, productions. Number two, now the next thing I fall on is to divide it into three things. Normally, sound, video, and then lighting. You can have a good sound, an excellent sound, and your video won't look so well, but people will watch it because the sound is too nice. I have downloaded a lot of videos that were shot with 4K cameras, and but I like the sound. So I just download them and I watch. You can equally have a video whereby the sound is good, the video is clear, the light is not so great, but you still download it. And now the simple term, what people call it is dark room or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, if your sound is bad and your video is as quality as what? I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to blow my phone speakers. So I won't even download. And that is what pushed me to get a few sound equipment. Not putting aside ministry too, because my main aim, one way or the other, is to improve upon Christian productions and decent content. Yeah, so I don't want anybody to ask on Facebook, what do I mean by decent content? When you come, I'll draw the line. Whether this one is decent or not. I'll draw it myself. So that's what just pushed me to enter into productions, because when I was way younger than now, I had that thing boiling in me. I've been seeing other productions as like top notch, but how come Christian productions like mediocre, that kind of thing? And to be reasonable, it's even this that's supposed to even teach the world. So we are supposed to set examples to the world in terms of quality, in terms of everything. So why? And that's what pushed me to enter into multimedia. Now, that's the second thing I just spoke of, light, video, sound. Now, the third thing I will also want to talk about would be planning from scratch. So I always want to give you an example. Someone called me yesterday saying, oh, preach, please. You've been supporting us, myself, my wife. We want to have a production, so we want to come for a budget from you. So, myself and my team will be meeting very soon. So we want to discuss who to go for. When I had that call, in fact, because the person is a brother, I said, okay, I will open up to you. Please, I can't give you a budget. I can't give you a budget until we finalize with some things. Then the first thing I asked him, as usual, send the link. Up to now, he hasn't sent it.
Share the link.
Share the link. You see, and to my surprise, a lot of people told that same line. They don't even know what they want. But you need to find your unique self and say that, okay, I'm an acoustic session person, kind of person, or I do well with harmonies, or I do well with the instruments, or this. So let me then look for similar things that are even perfect ahead of me, so that I get to learn. Anybody who comes, I just, this is what I do. Can you kindly assist me, shoot my video for me? Then we pick it from there. So about the planning. Now, the next thing that I would go to is, or the last thing I'll talk about, would be considering putting professional people in the ministry. Considering putting professional people in the ministry or the group.
Please break it down. Professional people saying.
Okay, number one, talented. Yes, I won't put the talent aside.
So what if the person's anointed?
You see, there is a clear difference, but I didn't learn, so I will come there. But sometimes the truth is a difficult truth to say. I know an anointed man of God. Me, I know him. I see him. I see him in a week. Me, I know him. I see him about 5 times in a week. I see him about 5 times in a week. But because he doesn't sharpen his axe, there are a lot of international deals that have bypassed him. Yes. And not to think materialistic, but it counts. The talent counts. I don't think at the young age of David, when he was skillfully playing, he knew God so much at that age. You get it? Very, very young. I don't think he knew who God was that big. And we tend to learn God in every step in our life. So you can't do away with God, and you can't do away with your professionalism or the skill. Sometimes the skill takes time to master, as my brother said. It takes a lot of time. So I might say what they are saying, but let me try and end. So putting professional people, for example, someone calls me, okay, I have this concept. I will mention one name, a lady called Ivy Rinchi. I met her, I listened to how she sang. I was like, wow. In fact, her then manager contacted us through a Kobe, and then they said, oh, studio, I asked all my questions. They gave me all the rundown. We gave them a bill. We went to shoot the video. After shooting the video, I was like, no, this lady, what she's doing, she's not supposed to be doing this line of productions so quickly. And that's where the daring also comes in. So with my own pocket, I went to buy a whole lot of things. That's how I started my sound journey. I started buying P16s, all of that, because the talent attracted me. I was like, no, this is what I. So professionally, I just noticed her, and I called her. I called her then boss. I said, please, I have these kind of concepts. Can I do it for you? And they were okay with it. In one day, we shot about, was it 5 videos or 4? About 5 videos. And yes, he was actually part of the production, and I was very humbled because at that time I didn't know which professional will make the job easy. Yes, I needed someone who is skillful, who is okay to work with, you know. So also I was blessed with that.
But you are so. Why are you always very particular about which people are playing? Why?
Because when the video is good and the sound is bad, I won't admit it.
Exactly. I must be frank. I've known yourself, Jeloops, Prince Senna, for a very long time. I've admired all of you from backstage. I met Salom also through, I think, it was Dinah's.
I think it was at Dinah's concert.
Yes, at Dinah's concert.
In Accra, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've admired all of you from a distance, and I've realized that most of you don't do overdubs. The percentage on overdubs is like 10. Even 10 crazy makambi. Yes. And I also started with music. I also started with music. I was very young. My big sister introduced me to Abase, Mark, a few other. There are two Marks. This Mark was staying in Anyamiche. So I had the listening ear from a younger age, playing through church and all of that. And from music, when I entered into SHS, I also entered into IT. From IT, I mean, visual arts, arts all over. Then coming to uni, photography. From photography, graphic design, prints, and all of that. From there, I moved to stage lighting. So I did lights for quite some time. So I now, oh yes, I was, I think, then Paul Chumberima, he was the one who even taught me much about light. And when it comes to video, the first person who really I appreciate a lot, I always don't joke with the person, is Mr. Andy. Andy. Yes, he's into the Pentecostal cycles. He's quite fair. So going through all these forms of media and loving music, and now coming to the point where, okay, I can play, I can write, I can do my own lighting, and now even entering into sound, because I want good sound.
And it looks like you I don't know why you don't have a stand here, because you are the sound and lights fair. So you should have a sound. Please, I hope it's not too late for him to actually get a stand. It's not too late, so preach media. You have to have a stand here, because you are so interested in the light and sound.
I mean,
Interesting.
with
So
time.
I'll
it will
ask a
get
question.
better.
What have you noticed in the productions that are going on now? I mean, recently I was watching the Defe video with some friends of mine who came from the US. And we're just going through YouTube watching different videos. And then they passed a few comments. They liked this, they liked the lighting, they liked the dressing. I mean, as the music aside, even if they put the music off, you can see there's a lot of vibrancy in the video. So what do you think we are getting right or we are not getting right? What do you think we need to do to make our videos better as a country, as industry?
Yes, so it boils down to putting professionals in place or in charge. Yes. Yes, I don't think they did it without professionals. I don't think they did the music video without professionals. They did. They rehearsed. They had their timing, their cues with the stems. They even had call-outs and all of that in there. They did it over and over and over with the pros. And I can't do everything, but I can learn everything. You get it? When I say I can't do everything, I mean at the same time where I'm doing live video. No. So I will learn it when I'm to produce something. Now I will now call the team I know are best at it, and I'll work with them.
But Kenny, do you think so? It means that we have to get more people who will be willing to actually learn this thing professionally.
Yes.
But does it pay? No, that's one thing J. Loops mentioned. I think that if we're going to go into something professionally, recently someone asked me if music is viable. He wants to be an instrumentalist. I was like, oh, for people like Prince Senna, Bludo, and if we have about 100,000 musicians in the country, this will make up about maybe 1%. Yeah, you understand?
Yes,
so
I understand.
If I'm giving you advice based on the lifestyle of the 1%, I'm doing a disservice. You get it? So, yes, we are looking at professionals. Some people actually do it. They are okay. Salom's new car, like this, is a very nice car. So if I advise you based on Salom's new car, I'll be doing you a disservice. So
Okay.
when you talk about production, is it a viable profession that people should go into? Because I think what happens is, like today we have this light and sound. Is that Nilati? So, Nilati. So we have this fair here. I think we have more people venturing into this whole music thing because there are a lot of churches coming up. They need equipment. I mean, not just equipment. As you said, we are going global. We need that global sound. We need to meet a certain standard.
Yeah.
So we have churches and in the groups and all that. I mean, a number of Ghanaian groups are touring now. We were having this conversation before they started.
Yeah.
So people want to reach that level. So yes, they are investing into some of these things.
Yeah.
So do you think it's profitable for people to go into production? Like someone wants to come and learn production from Preach Media. They wants to be under your umbrella.
I get it.
Where is the umbrella?
In fact, the answer is yes. I know God has better plans for me, and I'll use myself as an example. Even in school, when I started production till now, I've not worked in any company before that this is my daily source of income or monthly source of income. No, it's production that have brought me where I am. But it depends on what you do in the production. Yes, there's a but. There's a but. If you decide that as for you, you're only going to chase after production and not put a structure down, please, you'll fail. So that's where I know a lot of people who have entered into production and they've even sold their equipment and have bought some. I've bought some on my way. I told you today I'll drop some bombs. So I actually wouldn't have been here, but our big brother has called us. So, in fact, I know people who have entered into... Why? Because they didn't put a structure in place. And I thank God. God saved me with one minister. I won't mention his name. And his wife. But you see, it's good to acknowledge what God has done for you at every point in time. So I acknowledge the fact that God saved me through that person and helped me put a structure. Though it's not like the banking structure, but it's something that I've managed till now. So you need to put a structure down. If you feel you should take it full time to the end. The second thing, you have to be able to change things as we move on because time changes. I remember I used to say this. I don't know if I've told you before. Way back, our fathers used to sing in a booth, a 2-meter or 3-meter booth. And there will be just one desktop computer and, we'll play the drum and everything on it. Yes. That was their dispensation. Now it got to a point where we are playing live and we are recording. I saw one video with Osei and I think Soul Winners. They were bare-chested and they were having a rehearsal. And when I watched the video, I was like, wow.
Talking about Francis Osei, I think he sent a comment. He said, I don't know who he's directed to. I don't know if it's Prince. He said, see this guy. Francis Osei is waiting for you somewhere. He's still here giving lectures. So salutations to Osei. I think I'll just ship this in quickly. Francis Osei is one of the men who would actually call you and tell. He always has some ideas going on, and he's also ventured into other businesses. He's doing trailers. He's doing smoothies. He has just refused to put my name on one of the smoothie fencing. But anyway, that's still in court. So greetings to Francis Osei. Yeah.
Okay, so taking it from there. Now, they were doing live. I saw Francis Osei, Soul Winners, and I was like, wow, that's good. And anytime I see something good coming to the gospel circles, I'm excited. Especially from media, I'm excited. So I was like, oh, okay. Now it has come down to also Joe Metals dispensation. The question is, what next? as my brother Jalub said, what next? So we shouldn't be, should I say, following one way till the end. No, we have to create something. Now, what next? To me, I'll say this for everyone to know. This is what I have to share. What next is that we shouldn't be doing one-way productions. Please, we should stop. We shouldn't be doing one-way productions.
And by one way, what do you mean?
Everybody says, "Oh, I'm doing a Maverick City." Everybody, about 10 clients who will call me. Everybody will say, "Maverick City, a small room. This one doesn't cost." So
It's part of the dispensation.
yes. No, you have to look out for other nice things. I mentioned a concept to you.
Yeah.
I saw, I don't only look at Christian content. I brush through everything. But what I produce, what comes out of me, I make sure it's Christian content. So I was watching Music Travel Love, and I sent the link to Hakeem. It was so marvelous. Just two people playing guitar and singing with a sound card and a MacBook. And you can tell that they just went there with about 2 video guys. And at the end, when you see the output, their name is Music Travel Love on YouTube. They've been touring all over. So today they are at the seashore, tomorrow they are on the London Bridge, the next day. And it's marvelous. And I'm like, this
no
is budget.
I think it's an issue that needs to be addressed seriously. Because, you see, one thing that happened was when Fra came out today, they feel the vibe, right?
Yes.
Once that sound comes and it's a hit, you know that we are going to tour that for the next
long time.
for the next 1,000 years. I remember when Empress came into Guama with that whole Tom thing, and from that time we were there by the grace of God. Now they say the chant season. We are going
The chant season.
Yes, and if season 2 has come, people are going to tour that. If everybody wants that hip hopish, so I think Jalub's mentioned it. Ghanaians naturally, I think we like to jump on things once we see
Exactly.
get there. But as you're saying, there has to be, in fact, music in itself, the beauty of music is how unique or what unique thing you bring on board. So it's necessary that people start coming up with concepts and ideas that are unique to their music. If you're watching a Soul Winners concert, the beauty of it is they play their songs, they look like how they look a certain way, so the whole thing comes together nicely. But now I don't think you have much of that. And painfully, I think there's an issue out there. I know I'm not on the panel, but yes, you go for a concert or a gospel event, all the acts before the major acts will come and sing worship like ballads or things I would have listened to in the morning, that Sunday morning, praise and worship. They'll all come and sing. Everybody comes, wants to lift up one worship song or the other. And you're like, no. So nobody has something unique to come and present. I believe that the anointing is not limited to when you play a certain way, sound a certain way. I mean, it's really painful. Like, you've gone to church on Sunday, waited, come back for an event. You are sitting there, everybody's going, and this song has suffered the most. We gave you all. I mean, there's no program that song has not been sung. Everybody will see. If you like, go back and check it. So you've brought this up. I think it's a concern with many people.
Yes.
In as much as you are diversifying into other businesses and other things, you are going into sound now. I mean, people are going to different things. I believe that one person I can pick out, one person that comes to mind is Che Mensah. I think his event is the one that I've gone to in the past maybe 3-4 years. In fact, the audience was different, the setup was different, the instrumentalists were different, the sound was and it was so refreshing. So I see he has another concert coming up in September. And I was so excited about it. I want to go. but he doesn't know. But I'll actually go for that concert because it's the only place I know I hear something different. So, as you rightly said, the Maverick setup thing, or people want to go a certain way once that is working.
Yes.
It's rather unfortunate, but yeah, I believe that maybe they should come to you. So Preach Media, they say if you need concept, you take you to the sea, we take you to the rivers, valleys. We can even go to the Accra Zoo next to the lion. You can sing a Lion of Judah in the lion's den. So if you need concepts, Preach Media, I want to say thank you so much. And he came all the way, in fact, he traveled the most distance to be here. I want to thank him so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
too
so I'll jump to
having me.
Selom. Selom, I was going to ask you about royalties, copyright, but after you, we have our mother coming in to also shed some light here. So I'll not let you go too deep, but then you can say one or two things. One, I'll ask you a direct question.
All right, go ahead.
So the question has to do with what has been your experience when it comes to split sheet? I know you record one of the most, in fact, Selom, when Prince was giving a submission on his recording, I wanted to jump to you because I think you have one of the best recording sounds I've heard on guitar in the country.
Thank you very much.
Yes. You record, when I hear your guitars, and even Koda actually, and Koda actually mentioned it when I went to visit him not too long ago, before he passed on. May so rest in peace. So, yeah. So maybe you can touch on that, and then we'll go to the royalty split sheet thing.
Okay, so when it comes to my recording process at home, I've always worked with using amp modelers to record either via USB or a sound interface to my laptop. I think this whole thing started for me when I needed to find a way to be able to record guitars at home. That was when I started working with Mr. Francis Osei, and he permitted me to be able to record from home instead of coming to the studio. Now in Ghana, if you're a guitar or a bass player, you might not really have the luxury of having access to maybe preamps or combos to be able to record the correct way to a laptop, and you have to make do with maybe an effect pedal. And the effect pedal I had around that time, I sat down and did my research.
What pedal was that?
I was using a Boss ME90.
Oh,
Yes.
80 or 90?
ME80, sorry, yes. So I was using a Boss ME80 around that time. And I think I went online, did research on how I could properly record. And I think the first and easiest way to do it was using the USB cable. But then again, I decided to sit down and ask myself, okay, so how am I going to record this such that by the time the guitar gets to the sound engineer, it is mix ready? Because what I realized about recording instruments is that the final mix of a song actually starts with the dials you twist right from your guitar to your pedal. That is where the mixing process starts, actually. So I was also thinking about my contribution to the mixing process. So I sat down and studied guitar signal chains. I went on YouTube. There's so many YouTube channels where I went to learn about compression, when to use it, when not to use it, when to use a clean versus a dry preamp, or maybe like an edge of breakup sound, and delay and reverb. And after spending time learning all these things, I also went ahead to go and look at how these sounds affect a song or can be used in the context of a particular song. Because if you are doing a record, and sometimes a producer sends you a record and they want a reference, they send you a reference song more often than not, and they go like, oh, can you listen to this song by Hillsong or maybe Bethel Music and all that? If you need to get that sound, you have to go and listen to the way the guitars are played in those songs and the sounds they use, because the sound heavily shapes the way the song sounds. So I realized that they use a lot of delay and reverb, but it has to be dialed a certain way so that it will not get in the way of the guitar and also support the mix. Likewise, if you are doing a high life song, you need to know how you're going to dial in your guitar. And depending on even the genre of high life, if you're going to be using a univibe, I think it was Papa Koda's, may he so rest in peace, was it Adorso also? Yes, I think I was listening to that song and he posted it, and then he actually asked a question on our group page about the effect he was using, and I said, "Oh, he's using Univibe." And he was like, "Oh, how did I know?" I was like, "Oh, I've sat down to familiarize myself, and I realized that a lot of old high life records recorded the guitar through a Fender amp which had a Univibe inside it. So that's what gives that sound. It's not a chorus, it's not a vibrato. It has a certain unique sound. And if you listen to a lot of old like records, you'd actually notice that. So I was like, the effects play a very huge role in the context of the song. So I really sat down to learn all those things and how to dial them in on an amp modeler or effects pedal. In that case, my ME90, I learned how to get the sounds right. Recording via USB was quite simple because you can just adjust the levels. And by that way, I also monitored the way I was recording with flat response headphones. Since the engineer is also going to be mixing the song with a flat response monitor, so I want to make sure the guitar that I'm hearing is basically what he's also going to be hearing at his end.
So primarily, you're saying that when it comes to guitars, one thing I realize is actually the opposite of the bass, because engineers like their bass in a way that they can tweak things around. But when it comes to guitar, when I tried that thing, they'll leave it for you like that. The guitar come out with no effects.
With no effects, nothing.
Nothing, yes.
Yes. So in order to take that burden off their backs, I took it on myself to do that from my end. Record it, monitor, make sure my cabinet simulations and everything are all in place, and send to him. And knowing that all the engineer has to do is literally just drop the guitar in the mix and maybe just effect a low cut to avoid clashing with the bass and drums. So by so doing, I also had to arm myself just a little bit with knowledge of EQs and a little bit of how mixes and mastering works. Because if you, the guitar player, don't know how EQs, how mixing and mastering works, you will not be able to give the sound engineer what they want. And by so doing, when you record and send to an engineer, immediately they can tell that this guitar player actually understands how the mixing process goes. So you take off that work from their backs. And I've invested in a lot of amp modelers since that time. I buy them, I make patches, and I actually was able to find an audience where I could sell them to online, and that's what I've been doing. And at this point, I even have a counter opinion to what Ima said early on about the whole video versus audio thing. So when I started doing this thing, I was making audio samples and sending them to my boss to post on the website. And I wasn't getting that much in terms of client interactions and sales. And I asked him, and he told me, well, I need to know that in today's age, people listen with their eyes. So I should actually sit down and he said, oh, what the audios I'm sending him are very good.
That's why it's light and sound fair.
Yes, so people need to see the sound. Yes, so I had to also invest in getting a videographer to come and take videos of me and learn video editing also by myself, because I just take the data from me and edit the videos myself and put them on YouTube. And I noticed the difference that when people see you doing it, the quality of the video actually even, I don't know, it did had the intended effect. They ended up listening to what I was playing with just their eyes. And I saw the difference in terms of sales and revenue. And that is what has also been my part-time, let's say, little source of income by the side, besides actually just...
Is it little?
Well, I would say it's been dependable, because being dependable God. Being a session musician has its ups and downs. As Jelus Elion said, what happens when your artist travels for 3 months? And
why are you using 3 months? Why is everybody using?
Usually it's 3 months.
It's like so. Why are you using 3 months?
Yeah, summer is 3 months. And even in my case, working with Mr. Francis was saying, it was more of an experience where I'm always getting studio sessions when he's in town. But when he's out of town, because people are looking for someone who is around to work with. You don't really get that usual like inflow of projects coming from him. So then again, and I think as far I've worked with a lot of people, but with Mr. Francis was a different case in the sense that he specifically called me and told me that I'm running a production house and I want you to be part of the in-house team such that any project that comes to Groove House, you're automatically on board. And this is like, not like maybe working with Byte Productions or Jabet Productions where they're like, they have a song, okay, who should I call? Oh, I think Hakeem will be good for this. Oh, I think, it wasn't a case of, oh, I think this person. It was a case of, this is my in-house team and this is who I'm using. So then again, there's been times where Mr. says, I am out of town and what do I do? And doing the whole guitar sound design thing has come in very handy for me for on the side. And that has been my whole journey with recording at home.
So let me quickly ask this. How is a touring life like? Like for a musician, touring, going around, playing in different countries? Just shed some light on. I know currently quite a number of Dixon. Let me talk about guitarists. I'm guitar bias. Dixon, Ahoma. I mean, I can name Dominic. Who else am I missing?
Dixon, Ahoma, Dominic.
Quite a number of our friends are touring. So, how's the touring life like? And what was the transition like? Especially, when we come from a place where they say, when you're in church, you are church musicians.
Yeah.
So, going into Fra and that whole, how was it for you?
Okay, so from the angle of me being a church musician and going to Fra, something happened on tour last year, and a particular town we went to play at, which made me realize that what I was actually doing was not so far away from God as I thought. So,
so we're thinking it's okay.
The general assumption is that you're doing secular music, and it's worldly, or I don't know. That's the general assumption that certain people come at you with when you're doing this type of music. And we went to a particular place to go and perform, and when we performed, you feel the vibe. I think at the end of the show, I was going to look for my guitar bag, and someone had written a note and tucked it inside my guitar bag that, they enjoyed the show and then they enjoyed how we were talking about God and all that. And I was a bit surprised.
Was there a number attached there?
I know what you're going to say, yes. So yes, there was a number attached there, but I never got in touch. But the whole the whole idea behind me seeing that note was that someone had actually come to this concert. It was not a Christian concert per se, but they had actually experienced some form of epiphany from watching us perform. And the words then and the music, the lyrics and the composition had some way somehow preached a sermon to them. And it was very satisfying for me. I slept very well in my hotel room that night. So
wow. But for I think quite a number of songs you've done recently. In fact, you've had quite a number of church.
Yes.
I want to say
I want to say ministrations. Let me put it that way.
I think you are Open Heavens. You are
Open Heavens. Yeah, quite a number of churches have invited us.
So I think your music can easily cut for gospel. Some of it. My favorite song from Fra actually is the one with them. Dave the music.
Dave the music box, yeah.
Yeah, I know you feel the vibe is like the one that is really all out there. But I personally have this love for that song, and I mean, Lean on Me to what's that one title? Amen.
Yes, Ibiabe.
And at times I think some of us are too quick to tag Christian stuff with anything that is Name, Jesus Christ, and things, but. Some songs have Jesus in it, but they're very far from gospel, Yeah. So, Salom, royalties, split sheets. What has been your experience? You've recorded quite a number of songs.
Yes, I've recorded quite a number of songs. I think I'll put this here. If I had imagined to myself that if I had actually had split sheet agreements with every artist and every project I'd recorded, and I would actually have a Maybach parked outside. Yes, because I've worked on a lot of projects. The last time I went to sit on my laptop to look at the number of folders, unlike you who just records and
I hate that.
throws everything into one folder. I have every project I've ever worked on organized from as far back as 2016, 2017 to date, to the point where some people have actually come back to me and gone like, I lost the files for this project, do you still have it? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have it. I just opened my hard drive. And the last time I counted was close to, I think, more than 700.
Okay, so let me just do a quick math. When Selam started playing, when I met you in Legon, which was that?
That was around 2013.
2013. By 2013, Senna and Jelus had been playing for at least Senna and Jelus had been playing for at least maybe some 8 years.
Well, that's 700 already. So 4 me back. Selam, you just made me sad, man.
So I think I'll put this out there, not to bash anyone, but it's the truth. And some of these platforms, it's a learning
experience.
It's a learning for everyone, and we should be honest. We should be honest with our people. The first split sheet or royalty, whatever I got, was from a secular artist. I did that project with Bright Osei. And that's about maybe some 4 years ago.
It's about 3. This is 2021.
3 years ago. And then the second one I got was from another secular artist. The third one I got was from another secular artist. No, I'm not bashing anyone, but it's the unfortunate truth. And I believe that some of these things, it's still a work in progress. And I really hope that some of our people will wake up to some of these things and start doing things properly. Because for some of us, it's not like my life depends on that. It doesn't. And I know everybody here, even if tomorrow there's no gig for another 3 or 4 months. In fact, majority of the people seated here don't depend on gigs like that, because they have other things they are doing. But I mean, it's just beautiful that we are all contributing to something that when the things have to be done right, it's an intellectual property. I mean, things have to be done right. I promised Papa Koda before this whole thing that I would not be. He said I'm too controversial, and he was controversial too. So I promised him that I will not do certain things anymore. So I will not be hard on some of these things, but I think things have to be done right. If the people in the world are getting it right, why are people not getting it right? Now you can see things have really picked up for us. When I say us, I mean people in the gospel field. Things have really picked up for us. So I'll just take this platform to just send a message across that it doesn't take much to do it. It doesn't take much to do some of these things. And we don't need 50%, 40%. You understand? But it's just,
usually it's even just a little, about 5%.
maybe some don't know, so let me just say.
Hakeem, let me be the devil's advocate. Do the artists know about Please?
They do.
They know?
They do.
Okay, cool.
Trust me. Forgive me for bringing this in, but the whole Team Eternity Defi issue that came up, I mean, it's brought up a lot of conversation about intellectual property, legal actions and things that are going to. Hey, we have audience. So the conversation has been going on, and trust me, people know about these things. If people didn't know, I mean, it's just 2 seconds away from Google. You can easily find out all this information. I strongly believe that for the industry to grow, right, it has to be profitable for everyone. We are not in this for money, but it has to be profitable. Things have to be done. There has to be, Ima said, there has to be a structure. If I'm composing music and you're coming on board to help me, this guy is coming on board to help me. I need it. For him to bring his mind and actually do this thing well, at least there should be some form of incentive. You get me? Maybe that's 10%. Maybe in the next 15 years, you might get $1,000 or even less.
I can actually even share my practical experience. So with FRA, for example, all the members in the band are registered onto a PRO, and we all have percentages assigned to us. And it was this year that I started seeing payments into my account. And I thought to myself, if at this level, I don't think we are a small artist, but I don't think we are global yet. But if at our level, this is what I'm seeing in my bank account, then there's theoretical potential for. No, yeah, I'm potentially a millionaire, sitting there, because this is what it can actually grow into. Because even at this level,
no, it means you're doing projections with numbers.
I'm doing projections with numbers because I've seen what even at this level it can do.
So what do you mean at this level? It means that you have done some comparison with other levels.
I've not done comparisons with other labels per se. I can give you a streaming stats for, let's look at our brass music on YouTube. I think so far we have across board about 2.5 million views overall. And I measure that with the amount of money I've earned so far from our royalties. And I'm like, so if we had videos with 100 million views, or we had streams of X amount, and if you're a mathematician, you can actually do...
You don't even need to be a mathematician.
You can do simultaneous equations.
If you're hungry enough, if you're hungry enough, you start doing the calculations. And I mean, this information, all I'm saying is, this information is no longer coded information. Yeah. Again, I'll have to mention Coda, because I was with him before he passed. And he was telling me about the YouTube. There's actually a site you can go on and see how much people are earning on YouTube. Yes, and he was telling me about how much some of his colleagues are earning. And one thing about, Francis Osei, Coda, and Neswooting, these people are straight. What you see is what you get. They won't hide anything from you. So, yeah, I believe, and that's not just one. There's the tune. So when I say tune, I mean all those other ones that there are other streams of income, right? I feel that a lot of people are serving with bitterness. For me, I'll tell you my mind and go and sleep peacefully. But some people have bitterness in them. Some people are in some groups they don't want to be in because they're realizing that, Charlie. So recently, someone said something. He said, I've been with this gospel artist for so long. I started playing secular yesterday. I'm touring the world. Do you get my point? For some of these things, it makes it very difficult for you to even encourage someone to stay here because, what am I staying for? What's to gain? So I'll beseech our people. When I say our people, anybody who accepts Jesus Christ as their Lord and personal Savior. So please, let's do things right. Okay? Let's not shy from the truth. And if I come to you with the truth, I'm not fighting you. I actually love you because if I don't love you, I'll pretend. When someone speaks the truth, the person actually wants the best for you. Right? So I think, Salom, thank you so much. Last but not the least, we'll go to Dr. Gideon. Instrumentalists have some of the worst eating habits in the world. Eating, exercising. For production across board, yes. It's even worse for people who do lights and sound. I hope they're hearing me. The lights, all those who do sound engineers, the post stream, smiling. They who do light, sound. Across board. Anybody who related to this music thing, they have really bad eating, health habit. They don't do checkups. They're always running around, always under pressure, and all that. So Gideon, yourself, you're a keyboardist. But you used to transpose small, but but Dr. Gideon, so what do you have to tell us? I think you've been around a lot of musicians. What are some of the things you observe? What do you advise us to do and all that? Yes.
Thank you very much, Hakeem. Okay, first, is there a structure for healthcare system in the groups that we are in? Nothing.
No. I've been talking about structure with royalties.
I think that's one thing we should really pay attention to. It's not just about the spiritual aspects, the lighting, the sound. Health really plays a very important role. Okay, if we are to do just an annual checkup, let's say Just say in the groups, most of us here are leaders in the group. You can bring a structure like that. In a year, we'll do just a general checkup for anybody who is in the group. If it's established, they will do it. If it's part of I don't know if there are constitutions up there, they will definitely do it. You get it. And then the checkup, it doesn't really involve a lot. Basic ones like your BPs, your sugar levels. You check these ones. Blood tests like your kidney function, your liver function. All these are just cholesterol levels. They are things that we should pay attention to. You see, hypertension is killing a lot of people nowadays. Hypertension and diabetes. It's really killing a lot of people nowadays. You will see people walking about thinking they are all healthy because the next thing you see, they are like collapsed, stroke here or heart attack there. It's hypertension, which could have easily been picked up during a simple BP checkup or something. For the BP checkups, I advise that at least if every month you do it once, it's not bad. Every month. Nowadays, you don't have to go to the hospital to do it. A lot of the pharmacies around are checking BPs, they are checking the sugar levels, and most of them, they check it for free. Some you pay as little as maybe 2 cedis or even 5 cedis. And I think doing that a month, it's good. It's worth it. And then with the other ones, the major ones like the kidneys, your cholesterol levels, and we can do it a year, just yearly. And it will really help. When you pick up something, you can easily send then in the hospital, we pick up from there. So as the bosses are here, I think one major thing that I would beseech you guys to do is just try and start something. Once it starts, it will run across. And then just...
And by starting something, you mean?
Like just starting monthly, a yearly check-up for all your crew members. It's not something that is difficult to do. You can actually arrange with the hospital, go to them, talk to them that this is what we want to do annually. They'll give you a percentage off. So at a particular month, all your members, they can go there and then they are given free care on that percentage. You get. If it's done in a group, it's easier than individuals doing it. Okay. If we do it in a group and then let's say we are able to pick up the ones that we have to help, then those ones, individual based, we will be able to. I think it's something that we should really, really pay attention to because, Charlie, people are really dying. There are lots of sicknesses coming at the hospital for that. With the diet, I don't even know where to start from. Late night eatings, skipping breakfast, like it's something that
skipping breakfast.
Yeah, a lot of people skip breakfast.
What has breakfast done to you?
Skip. A lot of people who skip breakfast. I think it's mainly has to do with their late night eating because they eat late, they sleep late, they wake up very late, and then it moves way into the afternoons. Most of the times they go straight to their lunch and stuff like that. It's not helpful. Our balanced diet there, we've been talking about it from childhood, but a lot of people are not paying attention to it. But I think it's something that we should also pay attention to. Salt intake, reducing it, sugar intake, reducing it. All these are things that we should pay attention to very, very, very much. With exercise, dear, time management, I don't know, we are always busy. We are always on the move, doing something up and down. So it's difficult to actually get time to say, okay, I'll spend 1 hour at this gym exercising. But it's something that if you can't allocate time to it, just try and make your day-to-day activities, make it as active.
There's something he doesn't want me to see. I invited him to a gym and he lasted only 15 minutes.
No, there's video evidence of the opposite happening. In fact, you didn't come again. But in fact, when I went to the gym, I realized that I wasn't okay. Because, I thought I was okay because I think I'm strong, Kaka. But then when it came to doing some of the exercises, I realized that, Charlie, it became I realized that, Charlie, I am not okay as I thought. So Selma stopped coming though, but I want to encourage him. The fact that you're looking slim doesn't mean you're okay.
Doc,
Yeah.
does it matter if you eat late but you don't go to bed early? Is there like a
Okay.
compensation in the cycle?
The main thing is eating late. We want to make sure that the food is able to digest. Okay, so if you eat late and then you don't sleep early, at least, and the food is able to digest, it helps in a way. Okay, and there's some sort of compensation.
It's not the best, right?
It's not the best, definitely.
The reason
Definitely,
I'm
it's not the
asking-
best.
the
Yeah.
reason I'm asking this question, yeah, I think it's a problem with all creatives, not even just we don't sleep early. I don't know why.
Yes,
but
yes.
I don't know what
yes.
like
that is.
working in the night is so.
There's something about
pleasing,
the night that
you know?
is just sound. This gentleman, he never sleeps.
But if you're sleeping late and you're still getting, let's say the required amount of hours, let's 6 to 8 in the whole day, I think it's still cool. Okay, but once the number of hours that you're sleeping is short, I think it affects your being at the long run. Immediately you might not see any effect, but as time goes on, you start really feeling the effect. And I think we should work on that too. Yeah.
What do you think about? So I think someone was mentioning this. I don't know if someone was telling me about health insurance. Is it beneficial? Is this something you think we should go into?
Oh, yeah. I think once with a very established group, you can
Not national health insurance, though.
with the very established groups. I think it's I don't know or what actually goes into in the groups. Okay, but having a health insurance for that, there are a lot of private companies now who offer these private health insurance for groups. So you see them, talk to them, they give you their terms and conditions if you're able to meet it. And I think it's very helpful because if you have your most of the private hospitals or even the government hospitals now, they take these private health insurances and it really helps. So if it's something that is very doable, then I think we can.
Okay, so Doc, I think in fact, we'll see you after this and see if we can organize. Oh, he has a question.
Doc, the only question I had, yes, and I still have, is that I've had several encounters with the health, ministry. Let me say it that way. Certain a few places, and because of that, some of these experiences have changed my mindset about health centers. Yes, I might be speaking for many other people as well, whereby we have an insurance policy, people come, you roll on to all of these, and on the D-Day when you need it the most, there is this kind of disappointment. When I say disappointment, it comes in all ways. You go, oh, it covers only up to this. It's, those kind of things. So, in a position, me speaking for a group of people that, have that share the same kind of plight, what would you say to encourage me, or is there any other best way to, try, if maybe there is a particular kind of insurance that really works well, or I don't want you to be biased, but just the best answer.
I think most of the health insurance companies, they have their own terms and conditions. So it's advisable to let them elaborate everything out clearly so that you know that it covers this, it doesn't cover this. It covers this surgery, it doesn't cover this surgery. Okay, because with the hospitals, for them, it's what the insurance company comes to them with. That is what they follow. So you get to the hospital and then you're supposed to buy this medication, and then that medication is not covered under your insurance. But I know there are other companies that they take full charge of everything. Okay, but I think that one we can speak outside. I don't want to advertise for any, but we can speak outside on that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm still on the lifestyle bit. It appears that as musicians, the ordinary person goes to work at 9, they start maybe at 8 or 9, by 5 they close. We don't close, we don't, there's no closing time. we have very irregular. There's a day where you don't even touch your instrument, and then the next day you are recording 6 songs in a day, and then another time you have a long rehearsal because there's a show coming up. So in a week you are all sorts of. There's no regular pattern per se. How does that affect?
So that is when our stress management comes in. Okay, there are some symptoms that you would know yourself that, oh, I'm being stressed in this particular. Let's say all of a sudden you get to a stage where you start forgetting things very easily. Okay, you lose your loss of appetite. You are restless all of a sudden. These are signs that should tell you that I have to actually relax, because I am getting to that. I'm getting stressed. The stress disorder is actually setting in. Okay, so I think we have to pay attention to yourself more. Know when things start changing, so that you would have to adjust to it, because you can't. Everybody is different, as you said. The normal day person, we go 9, we close 5. Theirs is structured in that way. Yours doesn't have a particular structure. So you have to find a structure for it. You get it? Yeah, I think that would help.
Okay. Preach.
Medical area is medical. I tell you, the medical area is very, very. I mean, I've heard people talk about planned vacations, and I've heard people also speak about resting in between time. So, for example, let me just share this. So I'm now in a state where I'm not supposed to drive for long. For example, so over the weekend I had to go to Cape Coast, but my driver failed me. So obviously I have to drive. So I went. The next day I returned, and it took a bit of a toll on me. Now I've been down for some time, but as usual, you rest and then you kick back. Now I want to ask, see, our work is not easy. The reason is because you can't have a planned vacation. Some team members will say that, okay, then make a gig where made that for one day, the next day now, maba. It's not planned, and even that one, whilst you are there, you'll be thinking of some project that you've not completed, or something will come. So what would you advise?
I think you have to be intentional about these kind of things. Okay, you don't just it won't happen by chance that you automatically get the day off. You have to be very intentional that, okay, I'm going to take this one day after this gig off, and then from this time to this time, this is what I'm going to do. My phones are off, no TV. I'm just going to relax. You have to be very intentional about taking some of these decisions. Or, it will never happen. You get it? It will never happen. You have to really be intentional about it. And that's what I would say about that.
Okay. So I think our time is up. I want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming through, to J. Lubes, to Prince Senna, to Ima, to Gideon, to Selom. Thank you so much for making this session very interactive and very informative. Thank you so much. We are at the Light and Sound Fair, Sound and Light Fair actually, and we are at the Accra Digital Center. So if you want to pass by, in fact, there's so much happening behind me or in front of me. There are quite a number of stands here. We have sweet music. We have, I think I need glasses here. We have phases. We have sweet music. We have audio-visual systems and other vendors here. And lots of Freddie's audio is here as well. And there's so much happening here. You want to pass through, try out new stuff, the stuff they have. They are here today, they are here tomorrow, they are here on Sunday. Are we here on Sunday? We are on Sunday. So Accra Digital Center is just by circle, just here. So pass through, there's so much happening, very cozy environment. There'll be live performances. I think Pastor Helen will be here doing a vocal session tomorrow. And other great things happening here. So if you're home, tell a friend to tell a friend to come over to the Sound and Light Fair. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, yeah, where do you look? They say won't go through the water way, you know, the likes of won't go pick physical.